America. There's an election coming up soon. What do you make of that? Do you expect things?
Despair. And the choice which is offered to people in modern democratic contests is so bad that it's insulting. And the coming American presidential election doesn't seem to me to be any exception to that. I am myself in favour of it. I know nobody will pay any attention, but I am in favour of a purposeful, organised abstention. I think that the only way to obtain a revolution in the parties, it's the parties which need to be revolutionised, is for them to be deprived of legitimacy. If both presidential candidates, for instance, got fewer than 5 million votes, then neither of them would be legitimate. The election would have to be held again. And it would seem to me that mass abstention is the only intelligent reaction to the choice that's being offered to the American people now. And similarly in my own country, the two political parties in there are so utterly ungifted with vision or intelligence or common sense or serious political responses to the problems of the age at home or abroad that they don't deserve to be there. And people should tell them so, but they derive their legitimacy. Legitimacy in modern societies comes from the number of votes they can accrue. And it's very easy indeed for people, if they so choose, to deprive them of that, but people won't do it. There's this absurd idea that voting is a duty. On the contrary, not voting is sometimes the duty, and indeed also the idea that voting is itself somehow a thing which has been fought for. On the contrary, the greatest despots in the world have used voting, and indeed some of those votes for Saddam Hussein and some of those votes which the one-party states of the communist world used to get, they were, if not genuine, they were close to genuine. People turned out to vote for them. Indeed, if you failed to vote in Soviet elections, you got into trouble for the very good reason they wanted that legitimacy. The right not to vote, or rather, more correctly expressed, the freedom not to vote, is a very important one, particularly where your rulers are treating you with contempt.
But that's not going to happen anytime soon.
It should happen.
Right.
And I'm here to say that it should happen, and I urge people to consider it seriously, because I think sooner or later, the idea that every ballot paper should contain at the top a slot, none of the below. It's no good having none of the above, because that means that slot is at the bottom where people have already made up their mind. There should be a slot that's none of the below. So I treat the candidates you're offering me with complete contempt. I don't want any of them. And if that happened, and if none of the below outvoted all the candidates, imagine the political revolution which would follow. So easy to do. Why don't we do it?
Gosh, we'd have to stop clicking on their headlines and following them on social before we'd ever abstain.
Well, there you are. I mean, there it is. I mean, if universal suffrage democracy is what we're stuck with, then that's the intelligent man's response to it.